to Everyone Racers, a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture. It doesn't matter what kind of Limit Champ or Lucky Track Dog League you run, SCCA or NASA, we don't discriminate. As long as you drive it hard and built it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussions, tips and tricks, as well as news and notes from the world of amateur endurance racing. And whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or we're lucky enough, and Chrissy gives us just the tip, we're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less. Everyone report to the paddock.
Moving on.
Yeah, they did.
Yes, but happy birthday, Mom.
Okay.
Main topic time.
We're going to take this unique moment and gaze into our very murky crystal balls, which we could probably clean off with a little Windex, but Jeff and I keep the crystal balls. So they're just filthy and buried in the back corner of our garage. And we are going to talk about the trends that we see coming, automotive and or racing trends, good and bad. And we invite you to critique our discussion. So join us now. If I had a flashlight, I would do the old Conan O'Brien in the year 2525. But we're going to talk about the trends that we see coming. And I was hoping you guys would post stuff before mine, so it wouldn't be all me. Something I see as a negative trend, and we've touched on this before, but a recent article on The Truth About Cars said, talked about how BMW and Amazon are now completely partnered up to bring what they call a better user interface, what the rest of the world calls steal your personal data. And given some of the trends we are seeing now in a post Roe v. Wade environment, with subpoenas and making companies hand over electronic data, I do not like this one bit. And there is and all that we can do to stop it, I think, other than just keep driving old cars. But then I've got this lovely handheld tattletale that follows me around everywhere anyway.
That's basically what I was thinking.
Mhm.
There's
And this is really surprising because coming from a European company, so European data standards are drastically different. There are very, very strict laws about data mining in the EU. And it's actually, it's something that a lot of us in America talk about. Well, we should really adopt the EU standards. So surprising that it's coming from BMW. I know Hyundai is also in the same article. They talked about Hyundai's data subscription services, where you get we've all heard it, where you get the bonuses for paying the subscription prices, like heated seats, or these things are rented as part of a package instead of you own it. I hate that too. So I don't know. Everybody just talk to your congressman and get the data standards from Europe passed here. That would be very helpful.
That will never happen just because you were saying the phrase adopt EU standards, and everyone who has no knowledge of the subject at all will go, I'm an American, I don't want none of them.
Hey, they'd let us use all those cool headlights and taillights from Europe. Oh shit, they don't.
Well, and also it'll work because we use the same standard of measurement. Oh, no.
Well, don't do that either. Yeah, God forbid we use the one that divides by 10.
Don't get Chris on this soapbox. We do not need to start this.
Hey, there are two types of countries in this world: the ones that use the metric system and the ones that have been to the moon.
Has England been to the moon?
Nope. No one. Us. That's it. You're looking at the entirety of people on the moon.
Does England use the metric system? Are they still using? I don't know.
They do.
Okay,
They do when it's convenient.
Okay, let's keep going.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go down
Everything.
that trend. Go ahead. There's another story there.
All right. Well, okay. I'll keep doing it. So I did like this. And that was a recent piece I posted up on our social medias. It was written by Sam Smith. And he went to the Cletus McFarland Freedom Festival event at Bristol
Read this
International
story. It was
Speedway. And even if you don't care, read it, because Sam is just a great writer and it's always fun reading his stuff. But this is an uptrend that I like. So journosaurs, as they are known, the old school, automotive.
Is that a thing,
journalists.
or are you just calling them that?
Oh no, that is absolutely a term.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
you'll hear that one get kicked around. They love to mock the YouTubers. Hopefully you're not watching this on YouTube when you hear it, but I do believe that the flattening of media, just the accessibility of everyone who wants to start a podcast or wants to start a YouTube channel, has with just a handful of devices can absolutely do it. It's making some car events, I think, more democratized. So the Cletus show in Bristol, he literally showed up. They brought Robbie Gordon and all the stadium trucks that they run on road courses that do the crazy jumps until the point with that. And Cletus McFarland even raced in that. Then, of course, they had a burnout contest. The Spirit of Lemons airplane car was there and a bunch of other stuff, including a rear engine V8 Porsche Boxster that just was built to do nothing but destroy tires. That was fantastic. You also have other events like the Gambler 500, which is evolving very quickly to this great land preservation act, a group of people that just care about preserving our national forest lands. The Seekonk, Friday night drag. Seekonk, call us. We so want to go and watch this. You and I are we're both.
We could just show up.
Yeah, we're
Sure.
racing
Pay
junk
the
people.
$10.
Yeah,
Right, come on.
exactly. But it's a host of just these other specialized local events with, rules, maybe not always the safest rules, but what's great is they are just democratizing accessibility. So there are so many ways. And as we all came of age, it was autocross and car shows. That was it. And that was your, the only gateway. Now you can find what level of automotive nonsense you want to get involved in. And it's there. And I love it. I think that's a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. The people who wave their arms and say, "Oh, the car culture is dying," they're crazy. They just don't know what the kids are doing out there. Excuse me while I push the mute button and cough. But the YouTube world out there, they're really just smashing what is the normal conventions. I mean, it used to be that the famous YouTubers were buying Ferraris and crashing them and Lamborghinis. Now idiots in their garage are rebuilding half-burnt Lamborghinis, and I'm all for it. Not that we're gonna ever be able to buy Lamborghinis ourselves, but the wrenching YouTube is so deep. You can learn so much. I'm down for it. I agree with Mental. I think it's going to democratize and bring back car trends. Just stop doing that shit on the street and with the burnouts.
Right.
On a track, but
that's not helping anybody.
Yeah. Even you stance folks. I make fun of you, but at least you're wrenching on your car.
Just don't go fast. Break rules. Don't break rules, rather.
Yeah, there are plenty of places where you can go do dumb stuff in a perfectly safe, controlled, not making your neighbors mad environment.
Pretty much.
This has happened forever, though. Come on. People were doing dumb things with horses. We're going to do dumb things with sticks. Like, come on.
Well, the thing that Jeff and I saw eons ago, like 11 months ago, we went to the PRI, the Donk drag racing. And
that was fun.
It was a genuine love, I think, of the culture that they're like, crap, man, we're getting fast. We've got to put in some rules so people don't die. And so I think as long as you're doing it out of a love for the culture that you're fostering, the Gambler 500 has kind of split off their own version of the Hoopty-X. And now, at least out here in Las Vegas, they're tied in with the Mint 400. So they go and set up a motocross course for trucks. Think the old the monster truck shows when they would do the run what you brung kind of stuff where people just go by junkyard trucks.
They're so great to see full size pickups.
Yeah, what do they call that?
Like
tough trucks?
Gosh, that sounds terrible.
I love that.
Yeah,
I
it
think
sounds awesome, but like it's terrible
it's
for
like,
the.
It was like spectator drags for trucks, basically. A different way to see them
Sign me
break.
up.
And not even trucks, like Geo Metros with knobby tires. And the Gambler 500, if you follow their social medias, they've got this really cool Miata with extended axles front and rear, and it's running these giant 30-inch mudders, and it goes and carves around pastures and things like that. It's got the long travel suspension, so it does these crazy jumps and then just lands like a cloud. It's awesome.
Gambler must be mostly on social media because I've gone to look for like websites to find events anywhere near us. And
Oh
there's
yeah,
just
the
nothing.
Gambler
I don't know.
website is just not
No, and
terrible.
it's very regionalized. So each kind of region runs their own thing. And when I was in Atlanta, it was hard to find them. They are very active out here on the West Coast, especially Oregon, and then closer down here towards it's northern Nevada. But yeah,
Jeff, wouldn't that be a great thing for Miracle?
awesome.
Right?
Totally. Thank God I don't own her anymore.
No, but you know where
get
she
it back
lives.
for that. Come on.
I do.
I
don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, let's talk about
All
electrics.
right, yes, they're coming.
Yeah, they're coming. They're here. So yeah, let's talk about so what's really happening right now. And I'll throw this open.
Yeah, you've been the most
going
involved.
the directions. So you know, the electrification 2-3 years ago was like Tesla and those idiots who are like, I don't care about the paddle gaps. I don't gotta get no gas. But it's really turned the market over. We would not see a EV from Ford or Chevy or any of the major manufacturers if Tesla didn't sell so many and become a successful company. So as crazy as that guy is, and I don't want to really give him the props because he didn't really design it or anything, he just put the money into it. The Tesla, the EV market is really wide open right now, and we have Tesla to thank. And thank God everybody else is building better cars. I mean, that's just really the way it is. But what you're seeing out of Volkswagen and Hyundai and Ford and Chevy and, not really many of the other manufacturers are really there yet, but it's going to become a thing, and I'm all for it because I've driven a bunch of them and they're fantastic. Little bit maybe not the right use case for my wife, and we're still trying to figure that out, but let's talk about the luxury. I mean, it used to be the only luxury you got, a Chevy Volt or a Tesla, you know what I mean? So go ahead, Mental.
And I don't know how I feel about this, but just this week, both Bentley and Cadillac introduced very bespoke high-end electric vehicles. And I'm worried about the accessibility for the very people who need electric vehicles by making them luxury and performance and in status symbol items. Are we doing
that's the only
right
way you
thing?
can put that technology out there. It's not cheap enough for the people who might benefit for it at the end, but those people also don't have a regular place to charge. They don't have a garage. They're street parking. They're living in, smaller places that they can't just run an extension cord out the window to this thing. So I think they are targeting the market of people who will buy it and who can subsidize the technology for now. And stuff like the not the Lyric, whatever the new one, Celestiq, the Cadillac one, and Rolls-Royce. It's Rolls-Royce is the other one that came out with another really big one. Theirs are just technological show cars, basically. Look what we can do.
Halo cars that aren't
these
really
things work.
Yeah, they're not designed for high volume. But
I mean,
they're
even
designed
to try things.
Yeah. But the high volume ones, like let's talk about the ID4, the Kia, and the Hyundai. They're all $50,000. Mental is not wrong. The buy-in price is high, and
sure, but I'm suggesting though that those who Mental, I think, is trying to say would be most benefit from them they don't fit their lifestyle because they can't charge them.
Mm-hmm. No, you're
charging
right.
network is not,
and fixing is difficult, and it takes work and
break
a garage
as much in theory. I mean, yeah, well, you have to plug them in for everything. Like it's all computer based, but there's no oil changes. There's no spark plugs. There's a lot less maintenance. But if you have to basically have a stable, regular, not quite single family home, but something close to it to be able to have these, like the biggest benefit is plugging it at the end of the day. You come out in the morning, it's charged. You do it every day. Like you never go gas. You never really worry about it unless you go on a long trip, which most people don't. So I think that doesn't.
Or you eat a Taco Bell.
Or you eat a Taco Bell.
For 20 minutes though.
That those chargers at Taco Bell are going to be broken most of the time.
Well, and this is the DC fast charge innovation that Tesla did that is now getting to the other manufacturers. Used to be the only fast chargers were Tesla, and everyone else had to just trickle in or be at home. Chris is right. You plug in at home, but for the use case where you do need to go in, having the fast DC charge, like the Taco Bell story mentioned, right now is only really available in the high end stuff. Again, the cheapest ones with the fast DC charging are the Kia and the Hyundai at $50,000.
How do y'all feel about as certain industries are trying to lure employees back into the office with having this at work?
Oh, charging at work is very important because I think it will open up the amount of people who can do it. Obviously, if my wife had a even level 2 charger at work, her use case would be perfect for the Kia and the Hyundai.
Yeah, I think right now it's only mattering at jobs like we all have, where you make enough to be able to afford one of these, and you say, "Oh, isn't that great? I can charge at work. I like that." It's not, but now that we're away from the compliance machines of the 70-mile range e-golf and stuff like that then you really kind of needed it. Like the first gen Leaf, those things were terrible. Like those
One of my
worth
coworkers,
$12 today.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Mental.
You mentioned the e-golf. So I was at the Luftgeld with a group of Porsche people, and one of them had an e-golf that they had bought pre-owned because they quit making it. And literally it's his city car because he's not going to drive his air-cooled Porsche in LA traffic. Kill it. But to get to his son's school, he uses 70% of the battery power because it's all uphill. And so when he gets to his son's school, he has like 13%, and it's a very short drive. And then by the time he gets back home, because it's all downhill, he's actually back to about 45. No, he uses the
because he uses the brakes. He regenerates. Yeah.
And he gets back up to like a 55% percentage. It was hilarious. I'm hoping the luxury machines will make these compliance, because I'm seeing Nissan Leafs, if they go below $4,000, they sell within 2 days. At least here in the Las Vegas market. The average price hovers between 6 and 8, and there are no e-golfs, but there was a Mitsubishi Mirage all electric vehicle that was on
the iMev, whatever that thing was. It looks like a golf cart, basically.
It is a golf cart, but they were asking 6 for it on a dealer's lot, which was too much. But I would actually love one of those compliance machines for the right price. That would make sense for me to buy it for the exact reasons. I ride a scooter to work most days because I'm tired of killing my Mercedes and stop and go traffic on surface streets.
Yeah, one of my coworkers got a 4.2, a smart, whatever. I'm sorry, not smart 4.2, because the 4.2 is the gas one, but the smart that looks exactly like the 4.2, but it's fully electric. And he loves it. And he did the exact same thing. He was from Texas, and he's like, I like my car and I don't want to use it to commute. And I bought this so gosh darn cheap, and it's great. And I never put any gas in it. And I use my other car for everything else.
I do like the thought of, go ahead.
That's okay.
So I do like the thought of these skateboard built cars allowing some interesting coach built stuff. Like, Jeff, this was your idea. The same way the Fiero became the kit car, and the Beetle, actually, this is more of a closer to the Beetle pans. You can put anything on those. You put your Myers Manx, you put the fiber fab, whatever thing of the day on it. Great. What can you do with these skateboard cars? And for those that don't know what I mean.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you explain
so
what you're talking
a lot
about?
of these newer EVs are designed in what's called a skateboard, and that it has basically a battery pack as the main body of the car with structure to it all, and then the wheels and motors front and back, and then they just put a body on top of it, on top of that basically pan skateboard thing.
Imagine what a skateboard looks like. That is all the running gear of the car.
Yeah,
flat
and that's
bottom.
the way a Beetle was too. It had a big pan on the bottom, had a channel down the middle, had the engine in the back, the beam axle up front, and you could take the Beetle off of it and put all kinds of things on it while keeping all the major mechanicals on the rolling chassis. So I think the hard part of it is going to be interior integration, because a lot of these are so many screens and CAN bus and stuff like that. So people are going to have to hack that kind of stuff to make it work. But the major
like
components are all there.
the steering wheel and the dashboard stays, but everything else goes on top of it. So I read an article that talked about why we're not getting coach built cars, and they talked about the lithium shortage here. Basically, why would Tesla sell half of a car to somebody when they're selling every single one of their real full cars? So until we get like enough manufacturing capacity, and this, had to do with COVID, and the lithium prices shot up when they were making all the batteries, but that's all snapping back now. So as we get more manufacturers in, it's going to be easier for, Volkswagen. Are they going to sell all their ID4s and ID buses? I don't know. Maybe that's, Tesla's not going to do it, but maybe someone else will.
Well, I saw a thing today about, Teslas is because they have sold a ton of them. There are a bunch of them that are wrecked.
Yeah. I mean, Tesla motor and battery pack in your blah, blah, blah is the new hot rod in 10 years. We're talking about trends. Mark it down. Jeff said it first.
Well, and to talk about the CAN bus, I think there's lots of smart gearheads out there who absolutely will hack that. Just an article I was reading today, the Mini Moke, they have electric vehicles, but they're basically what are known as NEVs, which are neighborhood electric vehicles. Or Chris said, fancy golf carts, but they are now working on a highway speed version. And the way they're getting around the crash regulations that come with it is under the RPM Act that we talked about all last year and even the year before, where SEMA had to push. Congress passed it, but then wouldn't write the regulations on it, where if you build an old car that conforms to the crash standards of that day, you can also electrify it, which is what Moke is doing. So in the next year, Moke is planning on releasing in the US a highway speeds capable Mini Moke that's all electric. And I did sign up for the email updates on that one because
it is based off of, it's just like the old Mini Moke, which is awesome. Yeah, I just googled it. It's cool.
Which are like the happiest little cars ever.
They are. It was so great. I can only imagine that this is not like the one I drove, but
and the Moke
awesome.
and the Manx were the two things that people talked about. Like, oh my God, if you could make an EV car cool, and you can go back to that coach built, low manufacturer vehicle kind of thing, you could do it. And really, and this all goes back to, and I'll put this Bloomberg article in here, that the US electric car sales are reaching the milestone, that the tipping point is here. It's not the use case for everyone. You're never going to get rid of your tow vehicle, your diesel tow pig. Don't worry about that. I really don't think it's ever going to be mandated.
I know of 3 racers that have put deposits down on electric Silverados or electric F-150s.
Did they get them?
No. They're
going to get them.
Silverado.
Okay.
The Silverado is not out there yet, and I'm not selling people out,
right?
Because of the price tag of that one. But these people.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. That's fine.
It doesn't work for every use case. I don't think every single car is going to be electric for many years. Maybe when we're old and retired and our children's children are driving, maybe then it's this 25-25 and 25-35. It's not going to be 100% electric. The infrastructure is not going to be there, but it's going to be there eventually. And the tipping point is there where it's becoming normalized, where you're not the crazy person for buying an electric these days.
Ed Begley.
And that's a huge deal. It's a huge deal.
Well, it's not one of those city cars or the Dale or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Terrible.
I love the Dale. Watch that movie, everybody. HBO Max. Go check it out. Anyway, let's stop talking about electrics. Let's talk about racing.
That's true.
Okay. So what are the new cars that are going to be there in Crap Can Racing? Because obviously when it started in 06, you're looking at like 80s cars. Now we're seeing 90s cars. Even 90s cars are hard to get parts for. We're into the 2000s. Like, what are the cheap performance-ish 2000s cars, maybe even into the 2010s, that might be kind of the backbone of Lemons in the future? And I'll start off with this bold prediction that like the new Civic-ish is going to be the Mazda 3 and Ford Focus, because they made plenty in manuals. They handle pretty nicely. They're cheap. They're available. There's lots of parts for them.
Junkyards are full of them.
Seem fairly reliable. Junkyards are full of them. Ours has been pretty good, not perfect, but
Handle
I'd say
great.
pretty decent.
Handle great. Get them in a stick. It's a win. That's why we built one. I mean,
The
I think
engines are
that's
everywhere.
yeah.
They're
And I'll
reliable.
I'll say something else to actually back up your belief in that Mazda 3. I'm seeing automatic ones show up because people that are getting into crab can racing, there's a lot of them that can't drive a stick. The thing about, crab can racing is this great democratization of, what was the event at Pittsburgh, the guy's birthday party, where instead of going to a strip club, they're like, hey, what's cheaper?
Palooza or something.
Palooza,
like that, right?
thank you. Very good.
Exactly. And so you're seeing that it was a great execution, but is not unique. There are just people that are getting together like, hey, let's check this all together off of our bucket list because we're good friends. And well, 4 of us can't drive a stick. Oh, cool. I found this Mazda 3 for $800. It's an automatic. It runs great.
As automatics are getting better, they're going to become less and less of a problem. It's one thing like a TH350 that just sucks down all the power. It's 3 speeds. It's terrible. Like they're not good. They can be made to work. But
are
they
you
are
listening, Corey?
Right. So, Corey, Corey is the example. He makes them work.
Yeah, but why wouldn't I run my Lexus with 7-speed? Right.
Right. Or like, our Mercedes, it's a long way off from being, or even yours mental, aside from the fact that it has 500 horsepower in front of it and makes it a little warm. As far as transmissions go, like it's not a bad, it does a fine job. Like it's good at figuring out what gear you need to be in, and it shifts pretty quickly. And like it has enough gears that it's not just that, like that's a 3-speed's always killed me and everything, because the gaps between the gears are just so enormous, and it's just so, you're just running the torque converter all the time. It's so bad. But like in the Escalade for 2, it's an 8-speed. It locks torque converter immediately. Like if you floor it to pass somebody, it drops gears and just pounds through them as it rockets ahead. Like it does a great job. It'll hold, like the Mercedes will hold gears in downshift. If you are in Sport Plus and you come into a brake zone real hard, it'll just downshift for you. This isn't a station wagon.
Yeah, and honestly, E-gear, the wet clutch dual. I mean, DSG. How long has Volkswagen been doing DSGs? I mean, they're automatics are probably the future. Yes, I will miss rowing my own gears, but how long has it been since flappy paddles have actually been better?
Well, and that's why BMW is like, well, why do these Americans want the manual transmissions?
But not just slower. Americans. Why is this the gearheads wants the automatics? They are slower. I thought they like to go fast.
Yeah.
I mean, Porsche said for years, right? I mean, the Tiptronic or the whatever the current one is,
well,
it's faster. The DSG,
the DSGs are faster.
Yeah,
but but PDK is what Porsche calls it. Same thing.
That's good.
But
thank you.
Yeah, but the old Tiptronic was a slush box automatic, and that was terrible.
Yeah.
But the PDK is actually better, and we've all driven the PDK Porsches.
Absolutely,
they're not bad. They're fine.
Amazing.
Right. So, yeah, like there's
for those of you not watching
those.
on YouTube, Mental is praying to the gods at Stuttgart.
Oh, no, it's the chef's kiss, because yes,
kiss, yes.
Porsche PDKs are godsend.
They just work.
All right, so
right.
Mazda 3s definitely coming. Automatics definitely coming. What else is coming? What in the next 5-10 years? What's the hotness out there?
Mustangs. There's so damn many Mustangs.
Are so straight on this one.
There's so many, and they get driven by enough hoons and get depreciated to oblivion that there's still gonna be plenty of Mustangs.
And they're all gonna be stick, and they're all gonna be V8s, because
I'm generally surprised. I'm surprised we have not seen a lot of 5th-gen Camaros, not the V8 ones, but the rental spec. Because they're showing up around on Facebook Marketplace, needs fuel pump, mismatched body panels, kind of.
They're buy here, pay here fodder. It's great.
yeah. But I really think they're holding their value a little more than the Mustang, because the Mustang just outsold them so much.
Yeah, and I actually think the V6 pony cars are going to be the Goldilocks. For endurance racing, because like the 3.7 liter Mustang is 300 horsepower. Yep. There you go. So as long as you put a drive shaft on it that doesn't explode at 112 miles an hour, which I'm sure the aftermarket has figured out by now, then that's plenty fast. It's got a better fuel burn. Like that seems like the ticket. the same way now, like you don't want too much power in an endurance racing car because you use more gas. You don't go that much faster.
The SN95 Mustangs, even with the folks that are really have figured those out, and Eric Rude should be here to do the math on this one, but the V6 SN95 Mustangs have consistently outperformed the V8.
And that V6 was a turd. That 3.8 liter S6 V6 was what a boat anchor of a terrible engine that was. It's nothing like the more modern ones we're talking about. So yeah, I think that's the V8s are fun. They make noise. They woohoo America, but the V6s are a better choice.
Yeah,
I think.
the fifth generation
Turbo 4s even.
I'm not sure what it is, but the 05 to 14 was such a leap past the SN95 that like that's where the 5 liter came back and the V6 got really powerful. Wait till the EcoBoost starts showing up. I mean,
that's the next generation.
Yeah, I know it's the next generation, but
they are rental car fodder. They are showing up in the buy here, pay here's. They were still available. They're hen's teeth rare, but they were available with a stick. And even when they're not with a stick, it's a 10-speed transmission behind that.
Right. When they get to be 15 years old, the right ones are gonna be just basket cases.
Yeah, because the drag racers are going to want the V8s and the V6s, and they're gonna slide down the list. And
especially you get a convertible with a bad top that the interior's falling apart and something's wrong in the CAN bus, so it won't talk to the windows or something else. It's like, all right, that's the kind of thing we're talking about. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Here's another thing I want to see. I want to see a Lemons class, or it's just an automatic C-class entry for small SUVs, small car-based crossovers. I want to see a class of Tucsons and Escapes and Sportages and Equinoxes and RAV4s.
Yeah.
In that list, I will take an Equinox or an RAV4 over an Escape. I have driven an Escape. I think those are the most terrible thing. I would rather see an Edge than an Escape.
I feel the same way about the Equinox. I hate the Equinox.
Yeah, that's why they're perfect.
Yeah,
these are cars that
everything we're saying.
But then would somebody bring in a CX-7 and
then it's going to blow up because it's the Mazda Speed 3 turbo motor, and those just don't hold up.
Can't you just
but I'm sure CRV would come in and it would be fine, and it could go around and around and it'd be okay, right? But we've already seen
CRVs though.
We've seen full size. I mean, we've
seen CRVs and Lennons, and they do well because they're Hondas.
But I want the really bad ones, really the early Tucsons, like a Pontiac Torrent. Like what a terrible!
What is that? I don't even know what that is.
Yikes. Well,
exactly.
If you've got a small child in
Mercury
the car, cover
Mariner,
their ears. Oh no!
What didn't Phil say he was going to give automatic C-class, or maybe it was Eric, to anything with the high value 2.4 liter? What is?
Yeah, anything like that's great.
GM,
bring it. That sounds like a Dodge Journey. Come on, why haven't we seen any more Dodge Journeys?
More Dodge Journeys.
Yeah, they've Nick Pond has promised all kinds of things to the person that shows up with a Dodge Journey, because Nick has suffered through so many of them as rentals. Yeah, he just wants to see them die.
I look forward to that kind of stuff coming to being the Class C fodder of the future.
That's great.
Realistically,
I agree
the current
with you.
A cars will be more B, right? Yeah. The stuff we've been talking about, the newer things like the E90 BMWs and things like those are going to be A. Right. And then C is the weird, super old stuff that's going to be harder and harder to find, and cars that have absolutely no business being on a racetrack, like
Dodge Journey,
a Mercury Mariner and a Dodge Journey. Like, who doesn't want to see those dice it out?
I'm googling Mercury Mariner because I'm not even really sure what the hell
right. I just pulled up my Pontiac Torrent.
It's a Mercury Nissan Quest. If I'm not,
it's a Ford Escape is what
the
it
Mariner.
is.
That's right. The Mariner.
Oh, okay.
The Villager was a Nissan Quest. But hey,
my next thing, if I'm thinking of somebody were to take on this challenge, is possibly getting parts for these, because they can't be
everywhere.
Are there?
Oh yeah,
they're in
Pontiac Torrents.
They sold It's a Chevy
guess-
Equinox. So they sold
Oh,
so
okay.
many of them. The junkyards are full of them. Like,
Oh,
these
okay.
are normal people cars.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
normal
I
people
guess
cars you get
I
parts
just
for.
don't look at peasants when I drive by in my very fancy Mercedes.
Oh,
Oh
that
my
is
gosh.
that is
Oh my
going.
gosh.
That is totally going in the wrap up. Yeah.
Are you ready for
Chrissy
this?
doesn't look at peasants. Yes.
Are you ready for this? Are you excited? Pontiac
Yeah.
Torrent had a GXP trim.
Like a Saturn View
The
too.
G-
Come on.
Saturn View, good ones.
View
Yeah,
on the
view.
motor.
Okay.
The
Came with a stick.
The GXP
Oh.
Torrent in 2008 had a 6-speed manual transmission with a manual up and down shifting capability, 3.6 liter V6, 264 horsepower. You could have a winner
And they're
here.
gone. They're all gone. Like they're all gone. That's what's funny about them. That means they are totally depreciated, and the junkyards are full of them. Is the fact you don't see any
They are
anymore.
1 inch lower. They don't have a roof rack. This is the new winner. I am now Googling every week to find a Pontiac Torrent GXP.
Why? And then when you find it, what are you going to do?
Or a Saturn View Redline, which
Saturn
has
View
a,
Redline, yeah.
Oh.
has a Honda 3.5 liter V6 in it, actually
Yep.
from the factory, because GM didn't make anything good enough, so they bought Honda.
Well, some of the red
J35s.
lines had that. Didn't some of the View red lines have the
I don't know.
Ecotec turbo?
This is an Eric Rude question for
This is an
obscure
Eric
Right?
question.
knowledge.
Let's just
Right?
keep moving on.
All right, please bring small SUVs.
I
Those
love
are
it.
going to be so great.
Love it.
Yeah.
Don't even
So
bother
great.
with the E90s. Don't do it. They're boring.
No.
Yeah.
I'm
All right, I got
excited.
another
Go on.
car-based thing.
Yeah.
HPDE.
Oof.
I think the cars are getting too fast and risky for right seat instruction, and I think that's going to go away.
See our previous discussion about the crappy Mustangs that you're going to be able to buy for $5,000 with 450
Well,
horsepower.
Just this week, Judge Aaron Cole, released a piece on The Drive about making the case for special licenses because, especially performance oriented in the EV space, cars have gotten absurdly fast while our standards for getting a license in this country have gone steadily down.
Yeah. So, I know I've certainly questioned my HPDE instruction when I was right seat in a Z06 at VIR, and we're doing 155 into the braking zone, thinking, this guy isn't that, like, I don't really trust myself doing 155 in the braking zone, and this guy is not that good.
You're in
Whew.
this is an HPD, right? Like, so
This is
you
HPDE
are
2. This is
you're
in 2.
you're agreeing that you're not center.
Yeah, and this guy's going for it. And like he what he needs is a Miata on a Zenith to learn how to drive before he gets into a machine like this. But
he needs a Miata on Douglas Alltracks.
Right,
Yeah.
but those people don't want to hear it. So that's, I think, going to eventually make right seat instruction go away. It's that the risk is going to be too high. That's the bad.
Mhm.
The good is, I think, at the same time, live streaming and being able to live feedback remotely is getting so much better that I would think that within 5 years, you could have a camera in the car, a speaker, two-way mic in the car, and the data telemetry, and the instructor can sit at a laptop, watch the screen from in the car, watch the data on the other side, and be able to have live communication to the student right there. And I think that is actually even better than right seat.
Or maybe through your VR glasses.
Yeah. Well, then you get sick, but
No, but I'm serious. I'm serious. Like, why wouldn't I want to go like this and look at the gauges? For those of you who don't see, I'm whipping my head around, or look out the thing, or, I mean, the VR possibilities are really there right now. You never thought you would be able to.
So if you're an
just
up-and-coming
sitting with a laptop
programmer,
and I think it's going to be hard to make that technical leap to have the technology available for the cars and to the instructors. But I think it's going to happen in some of the, the higher end stuff first. But it seems like the safe and better way to keep HPDE going in the era where anyone can bring a 150-mile-an-hour car to the track.
Yeah. I mean, but even the camera technology has gotten so much cheaper. I mean, remember how much we used to pay for like a GoPro, and now you can get one off a Wish for like $10.
You might get it in February
years.
2025.
I mean, but you know what I mean? Like it used to be that
Yeah.
you had to buy high end to get any kind of clarity. And now people are putting 3 and 4 of them in their car to get 360-degree views because they've dropped down in price so much.
Well, now to touch back on what Chris said, though, by taking the instructor out of the car, which you saw Grid Life embrace, and the same thing that is happening with the SCCA track nights, it does go back to the human nature of self-preservation. Having an instructor in the car, which is why intermediate is one of the reasons why intermediate is some of the more dangerous areas, does embolden the driver with a sense of false security, because they don't have any way to slow the car down. And what you have seen happen repeatedly at the SCCA track nights and at Grid Life with your beginner groups is there's a sense of preservation that will have the driver backing off before they would if they had an instructor in the car. And even if you had the VR glasses, you're still like, you're driving the car by yourself, and you've got a voice in your head that's saying, hey, let's think about braking.
Yeah, let's move to the brake. Let's move to the brake.
I've kind of already let off a little bit on there because this is really scary.
Well, Chris is saying that the telemetry will be delivered just as easy. I mean, we're going to be able to know where their feet are by looking at the, colored little
plug
bars.
Plug an OBD2 plug in.
Yep.
Plug an OBD2 plug in, you get that immediately. I think not having in-car instruction, whether it's virtually in-car or personally in-car, definitely loses something. You miss so much. Like I cannot see things looking at a car that I can feel in or see from inside the car. There's so much you miss, and so many bad habits that people develop by doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we need some kind of in-car instruction, but it's got to be eventually we cannot keep this up with the speeds that things are going. I mean, look, you've got a new Supra. Great. It's 50 grand. It's not that expensive. It's totally in reach. And those are freaking so fast. Like, and that's middle of the road. Mustangs, Camaros.
Yeah. C6 Corvettes. I mean,
right. Those are cheap right now, and they're really fast.
Yeah. And really capable and really easy to get someone over their head.
Yeah, this is not a Miata or even a Civic Si in the 90s. Oh, 160 horsepower. Wow.
And front wheel drive,
how's it gonna go?
Which acts a little bit more closer to what their street car would act like.
Yeah.
I'm down. Let's talk about car collecting since we're all on that. We've said it here before. The bubble has burst, right? The enthusiast classic car market is taking a nosedive. Well, not a nosedive. It's a softened. I'm probably not ready to buy my P car yet, but there's hope in the future. I don't really have anything to say about this other than someday that 911 or Boxster S or Cayman S will be mine.
How about the 80s Porsches that I look at every day? Usually send one to Chris.
Well, on my phone, when I open up Safari to open a new page, it shows me shared with you, and there's 2 purple Porsches on here that are my recent things. So apparently
I just don't send you the blue or the puke green or the all yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was a 90s turbo and a 2021.
There's also like a limo or something on there.
And really, we shouldn't say things are getting cheap. It's that in the past 2-3 years, things have been gosh darn dunkulous how fast the market was going up. I mean, Mental works with the bid nerds. I watch it. Chrissy was on the show. Their life is what is going on these cars. And if you're not watching the bid nerds, you're not having a good time. I think they're great, but you can just hear the anguish in their voice as they lament about, a year ago, this was a $200,000 car, and now it's a $150,000 car. And a year ago, you couldn't touch these for under 120, and now they're getting $60,000 and $70,000 bids on Bring a Trailer. On I mean, there's a reason there's 37 different auction sites. There was so much money in the classic and enthusiast car market that just Oprah was giving out bids like you wouldn't believe. So I'm glad to see it softening because, like
I'm glad to see that Chris suffers because being here in Las Vegas, and I do spend a lot of time with JP and was just hanging out with Michael Deeves. So JP finds stuff. Hey, Mental, I know you're looking for that, and so I get things like this.
Oh,
Market,
tie me
right?
up.
Right?
Oh,
so for those of you who don't know, it was, and I'm not going to link this in the show notes because I've gotten permission if I can get rid of the RV to get this, but it's a 76 912, which I know 4-cylinder, but
What's wrong with that?
Exactly. It's actually, and it's even a 911
motor's a turd. That's why.
Well, yeah, but a 76 911,
Hey.
I'm going to get crushed by
Put it on the
Edna in her Hyundai,
In our
her
freaking
Hyundai
Civic.
failure wagon at a stoplight. So you're driving the car for the aesthetics, and I'm not going to
park it in your lawn
I guess
because
I just have
EV
such
swap
a
it.
version to the air-cooled 4-cylinder. Like it's the
EV
least
swap it.
sporting motor like ever.
Just get rid of it. EV swap it.
Absolutely.
EV swap it.
And when it blows up, either I EV swap it or go talk to Dwayne Wick and find a really lovely 3-liter to drop in there. And because I don't care about values, I care about the experience of just driving the car.
Mhm.
I'm on EV West right now shopping for
Yes.
Oh no.
Oh, this is great. All right, what else do we want to talk about? Did we miss any trends? Listeners out there, what do you see coming? Are we crazy for thinking these things are going to happen? Jump on our social media, hit us up on the Facebook or on the Instagram or the tweet space. Are we still tweeting, Mental? Because I don't even have Twitter on my phone.
No, I'm terrible. I should
All right.
I should get back on it. Every
Stick
now
to the
and again,
Facebook and the
yeah.
Instagram,
That's okay.
everyone.
That's where we are.
Where we live.
But I have been a lot more active on our Reddit.
Oh,
as well.
great. /E1R, right?
People
Yes.
still use that?
Reddit is huge.
Yeah, Reddit
It's a
is where
cesspool, so that means there's a lot of people there.
it is
Yeah.
a cesspool, but at the same time, it's honesty, which is where we found Vicky's lawyer and some other there's some great local recommendations on Reddit. So I'm some of our news and notes comes from things I see on Reddit that I see before it shows up on one of the glossy websites.
For those of you who aren't searching Reddit to find product suggestions, you're doing the world wrong because there's so much junk on the regular internet, on these commercial ones that are paid reviews and schlock things. Reddit is where the real people are talking about the product. So if you're ever looking for a product, do a Reddit search.
I don't even know how to start doing
Well,
Troglodytes.
You should start your voyage onto Reddit at /E1R.
Oh, thank you. That's great.
Oh, okay. I don't know how to get
Good
You could-
segue,
you could-
Mental.
You could look through all of our Luftgeld pictures, which I believe caused Jeff a slight crisis in his undergarments.
Without a doubt. Let's move on to our favorite. Is it our favorite? What are we doing? Is it just a tip? Is it Hello Sweet? Is it on the spot? Is it around the horn?
what is it?
Goat?
I
Chris,
feel
you
like
put it
it's
in here. What are you doing?
actually I put it in there,
Oh,
but
sorry.
I put it under Chris's thing because Chris can go from the technical question, and all of us have done some instructing to a degree, but we talked about our listener James McHugh.
We can say friend. We've shared the track with
Well,
him.
he's a wonderful person.
Yeah.
And he not only runs a C4 Corvette, he runs it with SCCA NASA, and he was recently doing an SCCA Enduro when he experienced total brake failure,
Yep.
At
Into
turn
turn
one in Thompson.
at Thompson. Yeah, thank you.
which is
Yep.
an attention getter because that's the end of a very long straightaway.
Oh yeah.
So I put it in there, but Chris, I threw it to you because I feel like you're the best equipped to discuss. You're at a track day, you're coming into a corner. Granted, I've done this more times than I care to count. You go to push the whoa pedal and it decides it's going to the floor.
And from watching James's VinCar video, after he presses the pedal the first time, the brake light comes on the dash, which means he's out of brake fluid.
Hydraulic problem. Yep.
Yep. So there's nothing there, but you're not going to notice this at speed. So when that kind of thing happens, and it's happened to me too, and the sinking feeling in your stomach when you step on the brake pedal and it goes all the way down and you're not expecting it and you're at speed is one that can only be understood if you have experienced it.
Yes, and I feel a slightly more alarming sensation is when your brake pedal goes all the way to the floor and you don't panic. You just go, again.
That's true.
No.
So if you have no brakes, well, now you obviously you need to start looking for exit strategies.
Mhm.
This is actually a reason I like to keep the parking brakes in our cars if we can, because they're great for putting the car in and out of the trailer. That's my favorite thing is having it in the trailer.
Yes, it is.
But B, if you do lose all your brakes, this gives you something. It's not great, and you don't want to just yank it because then you just lock the back brakes up and you slide into whatever, you have no control over. But maybe it'll slow you down a little bit. Aside
Push
from that,
the button,
if you
pull up sharply, but not like an animal.
Yep, something. If you can downshift, if you have room to downshift, I mean, if you have to blow the motor, it's better than crashing. Frankly.
Well, and even what you can use the clutch as almost a reverse brake pedal by downshifting and not letting the clutch out completely, but starting, by partial release, just shy of lockup or engine over rev.
Yep. Throwing the car into a spin just to make the tire scrub off speed. That works.
That's not something I would have thought of in a panic. I may have done that like trying to make the turn, but
Yeah. I mean, just a bunch of understeers and it's scrubbing speed off of the front. And if you can get all four tires sliding, now you're all scrubbing all of them off. If the ground isn't too soft, if there's enough room to just kind of roll yourself to a gradual stop, or at least get to a place you can be under control and maybe go around the corner on the grass, do that, find a way just to keep rolling and not hitting stuff as best you can. And yeah, that's the best I can say. Just look for an exit strategy. If there's a gravel trap,
gravel trap would be great.
That's why it's there. But try not to go into it sideways, because that's when you go over ass over tea kettle.
Yeah. But those of you who didn't read the article for turn 1 at NJMP, they're discussing a gravel trap.
Yeah.
So
I'm happy to see them expanding that, because there's not a lot of runoff room at turn 1 at NJMP, and you're going pretty quick.
Jeff and I watched a GT3 go off there at triple digit speeds once, and it was it put your heart in your throat.
I mean, our new Civic, I was doing 125 down there with old crappy tires and not trying in a Civic. So
bone stock, totally normal Civic.
Oh, it sounds bone stock too.
It was just a Civic, everybody. Don't get excited.
It's so loud.
Still, it's a stock Honda motor.
So I'm glad you're talking about what to do. I'm also going to throw something out. I know this isn't tech discussion and just a tip and all that other stuff, but I just recently on TikTok, and it actually linked me to a professional racer and prep company who was talking about pad knockback. And we've talked about pad knockback in our thing, and
we've had pad knockback in our cars, and we just figure out why do I consistently have a soft brake pedal going into this turn every lap?
Yep. And they showed like professional racers techniques of setting the brakes and everything. And the guy said at the end of the thing is like, but you need to get rid of it. And where that comes from is slop. So, the setting the brakes before you need to push the brakes. If you're doing that, check all your wheel bearings, check everything. Something has slop in it. So fix that so you don't have to try and ditch it into the wheel well.
It's usually a wheel bearing.
Yeah.
But that's not usually the cause of this. This is usually the brakes overheat and you get fluid fade, or you have a fluid loss. That's usually why you end up with no brakes. If you get pad fade, you're stepping on it and it's just not doing anything.
Just hard pedal
because the pads just have nothing left to give. There's no friction there anymore. Yeah. So
I've had hard pedal. I've never had no pedal. So
no, oh man, it's a terrible feeling.
I would need a new race suit.
That's basically your internal monologue.
Yes. All right.
So step 1, remain calm. Step 2, look for an exit strategy. Step 3, start looking at alternatives to slow the vehicle down. If you have to go off the track, keep the vehicle straight, especially if it is gravel or soft.
Yeah.
And
try not to ruin anyone else's day if you can help it.
Yeah. Do everything in your power to not have it happen by changing your brake fluid and all those other things that we talk about in all the other episodes.
Sometimes you just don't know, and you just a brake hose is rubbing against something, you just don't know it pops a leak.
Absolutely. All right. What's left here? Next show, do we know what we're doing?
We do.
Of course we do.
It's week before New Hampshire for a race, so we're doing our New Hampshire pre-race show.
It's going to be extra spooky.
Oh yeah.
Mental's going to do the whole race under a sheet with a flashlight under his chin. Full show.
Chrissy, do you want to plug the?
Yes, I do. Thanks for bringing that up. Plug the everything. Yes, we've got all kinds of things going on. We have potluck. Bring your food. Do not bring pizza or potato salad. Bring some good food. There is a spreadsheet that is available. It's on the forum. It's linked to multiple places. I will be posting it back up on Facebook to remind everybody. Bring something to share. We would love to have you. That will be on Saturday night. At setup is at 6, dinner at 6:30, or whenever I feel like it. Really, that's what it comes down to. But we'll be having that. It's good. After that, we will be having a costume contest and party. So Floodstang's team is going to be putting on, and I think they're going to have a stage, some judges, all kinds of fun. Wear some costumes. That list of costumes that are being judged is also on the forum, but I will be reposting that on all of the social media. So that's all good. And then we have bring the dusty old bottles of liquor from the back of your liquor cabinets, because we will be making fun drinks. I'm sure most of them are brown. There might be a bar. It's going to be
is not brown.
If it's been sitting long enough, it might be.
There's a bottle back there, and it used to be
Midori.
A color. Yeah,
is that
right.
Midori? It's the same exact
color
as the wall.
Yeah. Oh no, it's not.
It's from the 80s.
Yeah.
I've looked at labels from the 80s.
So bring your dusty bottles. Yes, share with everybody. The grosser, the better, the more laughs we'll have. And the drunker you get, more maybe we'll be doing some really fancy shots. So bring some bottles because it'll be fun. And that's partially to celebrate the 16th birthday of Lemons. So what better way to celebrate when you were 16 and you drank all the bottles in the back of your mom's liquor cabinet. Anyway, yeah. It's going to be a great time, as always. New Hampshire, if you're coming, stop by, say hi. We'll have some swag.
There you go. Hey, let's finish this up. I don't have any music because my little speaker is at home, but thank you for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoy this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. Then go to iTunes or YouTube and smash like buttons and hit 5 stars.
We totally missed that we got a new iTunes review.
Should we save it for next week so we can give it the proper
for next week.
due?
We had a lot of listener feedback this time.
If you want to join, do a 5-star review. Look, here's the deal. If you have any questions, show ideas, drop a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers. Email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. You can text Mental 484-243-0455. Send
so much junk pictures. I got so much rusty junk pictures this week. It was awesome.
That's awesome. Find a junkie 912 if you can. Find us on Instagram or Twitter at Everyone Racers, YouTube, Facebook. It's all there. /E1R on Reddit. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the shiny side up unless there is no shiny side, and just keep those wheels down.
Yeah.